Hello and welcome to the Dad Whisperer. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Watson, and you know that my passion week after week is to help you as dads become heroes. I want to bring you relevant topics that equip you and support that goal, especially when it comes to the dad-daughter relationship. Well, you know that I want you every week to picture yourselves standing side by side as dads, ready to run your fathering race this week. I'm on the sidelines coaching you, saying, on your mark, get set, go. On your mark is the topic every week. Get set. I'm putting stories and stats to that topic. And go is your practical action step to put your love for your daughter, even your sons, into action. Well, on your mark today, the topic is Father of the Bride. And this is a really fun topic. I can guarantee you that most of your daughters have probably been thinking about their wedding since they were little girls, playing with dolls, playing with their friends. And we're going to be talking about what it's like from the angle of the father of the bride. I'm sure most of you've seen the movie, right? When I say those words, Father of the Bride, I'm sure you're pulling up a couple movies that starred Steve Martin as a neurotic dad. Do you remember those movies? I mean, he was a train wreck in the dad department. And when his daughter got engaged, he went bonkers trying to process what that was going to be like to let her go. You probably can imagine them playing basketball in the driveway, and they had special dad-daughter bonding times, and he just thought he was going to lose it all. But it's a funny movie, but yet it had a message through the lens of a dad of what it's like to say, I'm letting my daughter go, and I'm feeling that. And today I have a dad joining us who's just been through this experience, who's going to be giving us an insider's perspective as a dad who recently went through this. So I want to introduce you to my friend, Tobie Hatfield. And Tobie and I have been friends for years. We go to the same church. He's also a graduate of the ABBA Project. Probably about 4 years ago, he was doing it. And Tobie is the Senior Director of Athlete Innovation at Nike. So let me just tell you a little bit about him. He joined Nike in 1990. He went on to help launch Nike's first components and materials departments. He goes that far back, and after spending 5 years honing his engineering skills at Nike's Asian Research and Development Center, Tobie moved back to Nike World Headquarters in Beaverton, where he was promoted to Senior Engineer of Advanced Projects. How's that for a mouthful? And he helped launch Nike's renowned Innovation Kitchen in 2000. Now, there's so much I could tell you about the impact that Tobie has had on the shoes most of us wear, but he's best known for his work on Michael Johnson's record-setting gold shoes. You maybe saw those in the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. He's shaped Nike's ACG trail running. He's co-invented Air TerraGo technology. Okay, look, I'm even getting tongue-tied just saying all these amazing things that he's done. But he's won awards. He's impacted shoe land around the world. And I could go on, but it's a joy to have you here today. Welcome, Tobie Hatfield.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. Thanks for having me.
I love that you call me Dr. Watson. You know you don't have to, but we have to say I presume, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Why don't we start by talking about, you have 2 married sons.
Actually, just one married son.
One married son, yep. One unmarried son, and then a married daughter.
Yes, just recently married.
Recently married. And I loved when you and I started talking about this, and you welled up with tears and telling me the story. I said, you've got to come share this because this is really close to your heart. So why don't we start? Just tell us about your relationship with Riley through the years leading up to her wedding.
Well, Riley is the youngest of our 3 children, and we had a little bit of a break between our second boy, Micah, and then Riley, about 6 years. And so when we were pregnant and we didn't find out until the birth, the gender, but it was 6 years. And so there was a bit of time since the last one. And then not only that, we found out we had a girl.
Yeah.
So to Pearl, my wife, and I, it was kind of like having a child for the first time because it had been 6 years, and now for the first time ever, we have a girl.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, now what do we do? If it was another boy, it's like, oh, okay, we've been through this a couple of times, right? So just having another girl was exciting, and we really obviously wanted a girl. We really wanted to kind of like round out the the boy-girl thing, and now we had our girl, and it was just so awesome and so precious
And so different.
Everything, everything was different. And so we just basically, she was definitely very special, but this was going to be a whole new learning process for both of us.
Yeah.
But probably more so for me because again, I'm the man in the house, the husband, and Pearl's like, all right, I've got this, right? I've got my girl.
Right.
And so I've got somebody that's like me.
Right.
And now my boys and I have somebody that is not like us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So were you and Riley close through the years? Because you're into sports, you've been an athlete.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys shared in together?
Absolutely. She had two older brothers that were heavily into sports. I was coaching them through their younger years until they got into high school. So she was always tagging along, right, to their events, whether it was soccer, basketball, and or football, track and field. It was all there. She was in, she was there, and so. There was always this thing was like, would she become that proverbial tomboy kind of, girl to where, she's just going to be rough and tumble, and her brothers weren't always necessarily the gentlest, with her, and we expected that. So she became, a bit of probably a little bit tougher and understanding so because of her two older brothers. But there was also this girly side to her that really showed Pearl and I that I don't think she was going to be that proverbial full-on tomboy anyway. She was going to be a little bit of a tougher girl, but she definitely loved her dolls. She definitely loved, dressing up and all that. And I love that. I actually love that.
I love hearing that side of you that got to come out even in being a father to a daughter for the first time. Well, let's jump all the way ahead. And I would love to get a running start into her wedding day. Okay. And this might be a really old-fashioned question to ask, but I think you said her husband now, his name is Kyle.
Yep.
Did Kyle come to you, Tobie, and ask for her hand in marriage? Or is that just outdated for millennials?
Oh, he absolutely came to me.
Really?
And not only once, twice. 8 months apart, actually.
Wow.
And so it's not outdated. It's not too old-fashioned.
Did you like it? I mean, was that like a respectful thing for you as a dad, or how'd you view that?
I expected it. I totally expected it. Not that I sat Riley down and nor her boyfriend at the time, Kyle, to say, okay, this is how it's going to be. I just expected that was what it was going to be. And so they did too. And I don't know if Kyle, in his mentoring through church or through his family, that he was brought up that way. I don't know any of that, quite frankly. But I was expecting it, and the reason he did it twice was the first time it was a little bit of kind of like unexpected,
okay,
and kind of early because they were only basically 19 and 20 years old, pretty young, and we said, hey, okay, I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes.
Got it.
And so we basically kind of just talked it through and said, hey, let's kind of pump the brakes a bit, and they hadn't gone through any marriage counseling or anything like that. So it was a matter of just like, hey, let's kind of slow down a little bit, and then let's kind of revisit this a little bit later, which
you said 8 months later, and then you said yes?
And then I said yes because they went through everything. They did their due diligence of going through marriage counseling. They went through and had both each had their own mentor through their church down in Eugene, and then when I talked to their senior pastor, he basically said they have done literally everything. It was going to be really hard for me to say no at that point.
There you go. Oh, how cool just to hear that kids, we'll call them from our vantage point, are putting in the work to say this matters, and you as a dad could stand in support of that. Well, let's jump now to the wedding day.
Yes.
So now you've given permission.
Yep.
Take us to that moment. What was that like, Tobie, when you first saw her in her wedding gown? It's one thing to maybe see a photo or see the dress hanging there. What was that like for you as a father of the bride?
once they chose the wedding dress, I was absolutely not allowed to see the dress at all, whether it was on her or not on her. So I had no idea what the dress looked like. It was basically surreal. It was something that you just can't prepare for.
So look at that. You're even moved to tears just bringing that picture back up. What brings the tears?
I mean, she was our daughter, and
yeah, your little girl all grown up.
Yeah. And just to see her in this beautiful dress. Mm-hmm. You try to picture it, as a father, as you're growing up, what that day is going to be like.
Yeah. And you just can't quite prepare.
No, you can't. There's just no way. And it was just beautiful, and that's all I can say.
Could you say that to her, or were you so moved that words didn't even come?
No, I mean, I said, I basically just said, yeah, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And then it was just a hug.
Yeah. You know what I'm struck with, Tobie, by your story is that you weren't allowed to see the dress, which tells me your daughter wanted, we talk about the first look.
Yes.
With your groom, but it sounds like she wanted you to take a first look too. That her dad's look at her mattered to her.
Yeah.
Which is powerful.
It's super powerful. And, I knew, it was coming to where I was getting ready to hand her over to her soon-to-be husband, Kyle. But that being able to have the first look, I kind of, a little part of me said, yeah, take that, Kyle.
Because you really did have the first look.
I had the first look before him. And,
I was the first man she loved. Let's just be clear about that.
Yeah. And I guess it was kind of to me, it was also symbolic because it was kind of like the last first. Ah. Because up until then, everything was first with her and I before there's another man in her life.
Right.
And so I really took that, and kind of for all it was worth, as much as I could.
Yeah, and treasured that. I mean, I think that's why you're moved to tears, just remembering that.
Yeah.
So then you talked about that whole, giving her away piece.
Yes.
What was that like for you in the ceremony? You're standing there. Did they do the whole who gives this woman to be married to this man? Her mother and I? Or what did you say? What was your line?
Well, that was the first thing I was thinking was like, don't forget my line. And it was a simple line. It's like, her mother and I do. Yes. And that was it. But I was so worried that I was going to forget because we practiced it at, the rehearsal the night before. And I wanted to make sure it was all, perfect for her.
For her.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I think your tears say a lot of it, right? Beyond even your words.
Yeah.
And those of you listening can't see my friend, but you can hear
probably a good thing.
His tears. Oh, it takes a true man to cry. I truly believe that's a strength position. If it was easy, every man would do it. So it's a strength position.
Yeah.
What was that like at the heart level then as you're saying her mother and I? You got the words right, did you?
I did.
Okay, go, Tobie. And you've handed her off now, and you sit down.
Yeah.
And it's starting to dramatically change. Like, even in the spiritual realm, like this is a sacred exchange.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that felt like?
Yeah, I mean, I totally, it was, even though it happened, rather quickly, it seemed like everything slowed down. And maybe it was because I wanted it to slow down. Again, I was savoring every moment probably. But what was interesting was that I noticed at the time is because when we walked her down the aisle, she was on my left, I was on the right. We were going to be sitting, Pearl, my wife, was already sitting in the first row to the left. Of course, Kyle, the groom, was on the right. And so when they said her mother and I do, then we kiss, and then she crosses over.
Unexpected?
No. Well, no, that's what we practiced.
I see.
But I didn't symbolically see that part. crossing over from
I see what you mean.
from my hands into his
Yes.
hands. And so literally there was a crossover from going from my left to like now going basically now to be on my right hand side, and now onto his left
Yes,
side.
I see what you mean.
You see what I'm saying? So there was this symbolic kind of crossover.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it was pretty
literally
powerful. Yes,
and figuratively.
Exactly.
Wow,
Yes.
that's so cool. So this might be an awkward way to say it, but in that crossover, were you thinking anything about like protection now, or she's and I know in this world where women are like, I am woman, hear me roar. I've got this. I don't need a man to protect me. But as a father of a daughter, did any of that idea cross your mind?
Absolutely. I mean, again, that first viewing was my last first, and so now when she crosses over, it was symbolically now and literally, it's up to him now to protect her and to watch over her, and also to experience a lot of other firsts.
Yeah.
And so it's time for me from standing up for her to now to sit down. And I literally did that, after she crossed
I've
over.
never thought of that. I've stood up for you.
Yes.
But now I'm sitting down,
Yes.
and I'm letting another man stand up for you.
Yep.
But I'm right here. Dad's right here close by.
Yeah.
I've just changed my position.
And Dr. Watson, I mean, I've been to many, many weddings, and I never, none of this ever came to my mind as far as like the crossover, the standing up, the sitting down, the first, last, or the last first. All of this happened with my daughter. Like this all came at that time. And I think that's what is so special.
No kidding.
That the Lord was really able to kind of like symbolize this to me in a meaningful way, that helps me to let go. It helps me to let go when you understand all of that.
Talk about that. Was that hard to let go?
Oh my, it's the hardest thing.
Yeah, because I don't think that's something I've heard men talk about. I mean, more now that I travel to Mars the last 8 years, I hear things.
Right.
But do you find with other men that are fathers of the bride are talking about the letting go and what that's really like?
Yeah, maybe not necessarily asking them what it's really like, but they all say it's hard. And even those who have multiple daughters, and my brother has 3, and they're older. And I mean, they were all married before my daughter. And I asked my brother this, actually. I said, did it get any easier? And he said, no.
Okay.
It never got any easier, even the third one, It's always hard. It's always hard to let go.
Oh, wow. I so appreciate you bringing that up. For dads listening that maybe haven't yet walked their daughters down the aisle, really taking note to build that solid foundation, because I really believe that if it's hard for a dad to let go, it means they've built a solid foundation.
Yeah.
If there hasn't been much attachment, I would imagine that's not as hard.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, there's so many things that that I've thought about, on this day, in our relationship, Riley's and mine's relationship, that certainly things that I would continue to, would have tried to improve and try to do things, kind of a little bit of like, you want to make sure like you tell somebody you love them before you go on a trip in case something happens, that a little bit kind of like that.
Right.
It's hard to explain, but there's just so many things that, and that's why I appreciate you bringing me on, because hopefully this can help those who are early in their years with their daughter's relationship.
Exactly.
And to not take anything, literally anything for granted.
Because it goes so fast.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's what I hear you saying. It's like, whoa, I blinked. My little girl is now a woman, and she's someone else's wife.
That's
and
right.
Sharing his last name, and I've let her go.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens.
What was one of the best parts of her wedding day for you?
Well, the best part for me, and I was expecting this, and it was the father-daughter dance.
Oh, take us with you on the dance floor for a minute, if you would.
Well, I have to take you a little bit before that, because when they first got engaged, and I said yes, and By the way, Kyle not only had to ask me for her hand in marriage, but her 2 older brothers as well.
Really?
Yes. That was also expected.
She wanted that?
No, that was something that I wanted, but I asked
see.
Kyle after he asked me, and I said yes. I go, you know what you have to do now, and he knew exactly what he needed to do, and that was to go through her 2 older brothers as well. But anyway, once that happened, she goes, okay, Dad, you have one job. Because a lot of this was going to fall onto Pearl, and the wedding planner, what have you. But you have one job, and that is to choose our father-daughter song for the dance.
That's a big job.
It's a pretty big job. And immediately I was like, oh, gosh. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the emotions already started to flow when she said that. But the rebel side of me wanted to say, well, I'm going to wait till the last second, because I'm just not. And the crazy thing was the very next day after work, got in my car, turned on the radio, have about 25, 30 minutes to get to home. The very, very first song that comes on, I was listening to Christian radio, was the Cinderella song by Stephen Curtis Chapman, the song that he wrote for his daughter, for when he was going to give her away. And I mean, it was just like literally like without being as audible as God could be to me, is like,
there's your song.
There's your song.
There's your song.
And I'm like, really, Lord? I mean,
wow.
It's going to be that. And he said, yeah, and you need to listen to the whole thing. Like I was like,
did you have to pull the car over? Or
no,
were you okay?
But I was pretty tearful driving, but I was still pretty safe. But he said, and you need to listen to the whole song. Like it was like tempting to like just kind of like, turn it, but I had to listen to the whole song. And so, but I didn't tell her the song right away.
Oh, got it.
But then fast forward to the actual dance. It was very emotional, but I again savored it a lot.
Emotional for both of you?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, she was extremely happy. She had just got married. She doesn't cry much, but she did. When we were walking down the aisle, her and I. But I think at this point she was like, okay, it's good. And then so from then on during the dance, it was just about her wiping away my tears.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure they got that on video, and every time you watch it, you'll probably cry again.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I want to watch it anytime soon.
It'll be a while. Just picturing it moves you to tears. Tobie, thank you so much today for letting us walk with you through that day of what it's like to be a father of the bride. And as you know, every time I end a theme, a program, it's to do a go step. So I would love to ask you, what wisdom can you impart to dads of daughters to help them prepare for being a father of the bride one day?
Yeah, I think it's so important, the go step, and I appreciate asking that. I mean, this go step stems more from what I do more of and what I would do more of and different in order to have and maintain a healthy relationship with my, and in this case, your daughter, whoever's listening. Having 2 sons first, recognize that more soon and better, I cannot handle or treat her like her brothers. I just can't. And in fact, she said, I need you to be more of a dad than a coach.
Oh, so I love that. Okay, number one.
Yeah,
treat your daughter different than the boys. Yeah. Number two.
And then I think it's important for others, fathers, to talk to other fathers who have different, fathers that have different ages, so that you can get a sense of what it's going to be like potentially.
Yeah, what to expect.
What to expect, and so the good and the bad. Listen to other fathers who are going through these experiences and currently going through them.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, be teachable, be willing to learn.
Yeah, and the third thing is, I even though I went through the ABBA project, I would say just in the words of Nike, just do it. Go do an ABBA project and be a part of a group that are having potentially issues, and you can hear again different levels and where you're at. And I was resistant in going to that, and my wife insisted, and And I gave in to my wife's desire. So make it your desire before that happens. It's all up to you.
Oh, I love that. And really, I didn't tell Tobie to say that, to plug the ABBA Project, which is the group I lead for dads of daughters ages 13 to 30. But you guys can all write me. Always go to my website, drmichellewatson.com, and you can write me. There I also have places where you can sign up for my Dad Daughter Friday blog. You can listen to former shows. Got a lot of free resources. Well, Tobie, thank you for being here today. You've been listening to Tobie Hatfield share what it's been like for him to be the father of the bride, as he just recently gave his daughter Riley to her husband and walked her down the aisle. So thank you so much for being here. It's been a joy, everyone, to have you listen in. If you'd enjoyed this conversation, you can always hear more on iTunes. Go to the Dad Whisperer. You can write me, tell me what you want to hear me address on the show. So dads, get out there today, intentionally and consistently invest in your daughters' hearts. Go Dads.